You will not believe what just came out about Charlie Kirk, and it's sending shockwaves across social media. Sources are calling it the most bizarre and haunting night insiders have ever reported. According to reports, Charlie Kirk's personal driver is finally breaking his silence. And what he witnessed the night before is so shocking that fans are still trying to process it. Emotions are running high, and the reactions are intense. Some are calling it unbelievable, while others say it will change everything you thought you knew. According to the driver, the night in question was filled with strange behavior, unexplained events, and moments so dramatic that even those close to Kirk were left stunned. Insiders suggest that what happened behind closed doors could have massive implications for his public image. The driver described the events as unforgettable and haunting, hinting that some of what he saw might never be shared publicly. Fans online are already speculating wildly, debating what secrets could have been exposed and how it might impact the narrative surrounding Kirk. The story is layered with tension, intrigue, and drama, the kind of revelation that fuels viral news cycles. Some witnesses allegedly saw arguments, unexplained disappearances, and moments that had people questioning what was really happening. The driver himself says he has never been more conflicted in his life, torn between loyalty and the shocking reality of what he witnessed. Insiders say the details are so intense, social media threads are exploding with speculation, memes, and heated debates. You do not want to miss this. The questions are piling up. What exactly did the driver see? Why is he finally speaking out now? And how will this affect Charlie Kirk's public persona moving forward? Stick around because this is just the beginning, and the story is about to get even more wild. The night that changed everything started quietly, or at least that's what insiders say. Charlie Kirk's driver, who was asked to remain anonymous, claims he was just doing his usual route, dropping off Kirk at a private location and heading back to park the car, when he noticed something entirely unexpected. Sources say emotions were running high even before the night began, and the driver recalled an uneasy energy that seemed to follow Kirk everywhere he went. According to insiders, there were moments that seemed normal on the surface, polite exchanges, routine phone calls, but the driver noticed subtle things that made him uneasy, hints of tension and secrecy that most people would overlook. As the evening progressed, the driver says the tension escalated dramatically. Kirk allegedly received a series of phone calls that left him visibly agitated. "I've never seen him like that before," the driver told insiders. He was pacing, muttering to himself, and at one point slammed the door so hard I thought it might break. Insiders report that some of these calls were late into the night, and the content was unclear, but the driver described Kirk's reactions as haunting and deeply unsettling. According to sources, it wasn't just the volume or the anger, it was the way his eyes darted, the pauses, the whispered mutterings. All of it left an impression that the driver says he will never forget. Around midnight, things reportedly took a turn that insiders are calling surreal. The driver claims Kirk left the house briefly, then returned with an expression that seemed almost haunted. It was like he had seen something he wasn't supposed to, the driver said. Eyewitness accounts are scarce because this happened behind closed doors, but insiders say Kirk's behavior shifted drastically, from calm and collected to tense, almost defensive. The driver was tasked with staying outside, but even from the car he could sense the intensity. He described the feeling as being trapped in a storm you can't see, only feel. Fans online are already speculating about what could have caused such a shift, with theories ranging from personal disputes to more mysterious, unconfirmed events. According to insiders, the driver began documenting what he saw immediately after the night ended. Knowing that this wasn't just another routine evening, he says he felt compelled to speak out because the events were too intense to ignore. "I've driven Charlie Kirk for years," he said. "I've seen stress, I've seen frustration, but nothing like this. What happened that night, it will haunt me forever." Sources close to the driver say he is credible, and that his observations, while dramatic, align with subtle hints that other staff and associates had noticed but never confirmed publicly. The combination of secrecy, tension, and bizarre behavior has fans speculating wildly online, with threads discussing every possible scenario from political conflicts to personal drama. Insiders also report that family and staff were involved in what happened that night, adding another layer to the mystery. Arguments reportedly broke out in the house, with raised voices and slammed doors that could be heard from outside. The driver claims he tried to remain neutral, focusing on his job, but couldn't ignore the raw emotion he sensed. According to sources, the interactions were heated, with accusations flying back and forth. The family, it seems, was divided, with some members visibly upset while others tried to calm the situation. The emotional stakes were high, and insiders say it was a night that changed dynamics in the household. One particularly shocking moment, according to the driver, occurred around 2 a.m. Kirk allegedly received an unexpected visitor, someone who had been a source of tension in previous weeks. Insiders report that their interaction was brief but intense, with whispers and hand gestures that the driver says he will never forget. He described it as a silent confrontation, one that carried more weight than any argument could. The emotional undertone, combined with Kirk's visible distress, created an atmosphere that was nearly unbearable to witness. Fans on social media have already latched onto this moment, speculating about who the visitor could have been and what secrets might have been exchanged in that brief encounter. As dawn approached, the driver recounts that Kirk's demeanor shifted once again. Insiders say he seemed exhausted, almost haunted, as if the events of the night had taken a physical and mental toll. The driver reported that Kirk was quiet, reflective, and unusually withdrawn during the early morning hours, a stark contrast to the intensity of the previous night. Some staff members reportedly tried to check in, but Kirk's responses were minimal, terse, and guarded. Insiders say this was the first time anyone had seen him so vulnerable, and it left a lasting impression on those present. Fans and analysts alike are now dissecting every detail, from the timing of phone calls to the mysterious visitor, to try and piece together the events that have been described as shocking and haunting. Social media conversations are erupting with theories, memes, and heated debate, with people questioning what could possibly lead to such dramatic behavior. The driver's account adds an insider perspective that had previously been missing, creating a viral wave of speculation and discussion. Every small detail is being scrutinized, from Kirk's facial expressions to his body language, with fans determined to uncover the full story. The driver himself has admitted that even though he is sharing parts of the story, there are elements he cannot reveal publicly for legal and personal reasons. Insiders suggest that what he has already shared is just the tip of the iceberg, and that more shocking details may emerge as the story develops. The secrecy only fuels fan curiosity, with speculation threads stretching for miles across social media. According to sources, the combination of tension, mysterious events, and personal drama has created a narrative that fans cannot stop talking about. And the anticipation for what happens next is almost unbearable. Closes. The scene is set for a story that combines tension, personal drama, and mystery. The driver has revealed enough to shock audiences, but insiders hint that the nights following these events may contain even more dramatic twists. With emotions running high, secrets lingering in the shadows, and the haunting memory of what was witnessed, this story is only beginning to unfold. Fans are left asking themselves, what really happened that night? Who else was involved? And what consequences might ripple from this chilling evening? This sets up where the night's aftermath, reactions from associates, and deeper revelations from the driver will push the story into even more dramatic territory. As the morning after the fateful night unfolded, insiders say the tension did not dissipate. The driver described Kirk as unusually silent, moving through his morning routine with a stiffness that alarmed even longtime staff. Sources suggest that behind closed doors, there were hushed conversations between Kirk and his inner circle, discussions that seemed urgent and, according to the driver, full of unspoken fear. Fans online were quick to speculate. Was this fallout from a personal conflict, a political entanglement, or something else entirely? Insiders say Kirk's behavior in the hours after the night in question was just as dramatic as the events themselves, hinting that what the driver had witnessed was only part of a much larger story. The driver recalls a particularly striking moment in the early afternoon. Kirk reportedly received another series of phone calls, this time longer and more intense. Insiders report that during one of these calls, Kirk's voice cracked, and he appeared visibly shaken. The driver said he had never heard Kirk sound like that before, noting a vulnerability that contrasted sharply with his usual public persona. According to sources, Kirk then spent hours pacing his private office, speaking in hurried, fragmented sentences to aides and family members. The driver, watching from a distance, said he felt as if he had witnessed a man grappling with a storm he couldn't control, and that the intensity of the moment would stay with him forever. Additionally, insiders report that the household atmosphere was fractured. Family members, according to the driver, were divided in their reactions to the previous night's events. Some were visibly concerned, trying to understand what had happened, while others seemed defensive, almost protective of Kirk. The driver noted a particular conversation where a relative whispered urgently to Kirk, prompting him to gesture sharply and retreat to another room. According to insiders, these subtle dynamics hinted at deeper conflicts that were simmering long before the night in question. Fans on social media immediately speculated about family drama, with threads debating whether the tension stemmed from personal disagreements, financial matters, or previously undisclosed disputes. The driver also shared an account of an unusual late-night encounter the previous evening that insiders say may explain much of Kirk's behavior. He claims that a mysterious visitor arrived at the property unannounced, and that Kirk's interaction with them was brief, but charged with emotion. "I could see everything in his eyes," the driver told sources. "There was fear, anger, and something else. I don't even have the words for it." Insiders report that the visitor left quickly, but the tension lingered, and Kirk spent the next hours visibly unsettled. Fans immediately began theorizing about who this person could have been and what role they played in the unfolding drama, sparking viral debates across platforms. Sources close to the driver say that this incident triggered a cascade of events the following morning. Kirk allegedly called multiple associates, sending urgent messages and arranging last-minute meetings. Insiders suggest that these communications were intended to manage the fallout of the previous night, to control the narrative, and to ensure that sensitive details did not leak publicly. The driver, observing these interactions, described a man who was simultaneously strategic, reactive, and emotionally frayed, a combination that insiders say is rare and volatile. Social media users quickly picked up on the narrative, amplifying the story with memes, clips, and heated discussion threads. According to insiders, tensions continued to rise within the household throughout the day. The driver reported hearing heated exchanges between Kirk and staff, where instructions were given with sharp urgency and frustrations were barely contained. Sources suggest that some aides and associates were unsure how to respond, caught between loyalty to Kirk and concern about the escalating drama. The driver recalls thinking that every glance, gesture, and whispered comment carried layers of meaning, leaving him feeling like an observer to a story much bigger than himself. Fans online latched onto these details, speculating about what could have triggered such extreme reactions and what consequences might follow. The driver also hinted at moments of secrecy that added to the tension. Insiders report that Kirk spent long periods behind closed doors, sometimes alone, sometimes with a trusted aide, and that during these periods, staff were explicitly instructed not to disturb him. According to the driver, the secrecy was palpable, creating an atmosphere of suspense that even he, as a longtime employee, found unnerving. Social media users immediately began crafting theories about what could have been happening, from private disputes to sensitive political negotiations, and with the intensity of speculation fueled by every subtle detail the driver shared. As the day wore on, insiders say Kirk attempted to regain control of the narrative. According to the driver, he engaged in several public appearances, seemingly composed but visibly strained. Sources suggest that Kirk's team carefully choreographed these appearances to project calm while minimizing the risk of further scrutiny. Fans, however, quickly noticed subtle cues, tense body language, a slightly strained voice, and fleeting expressions of frustration, which fueled further online discussion. The driver noted that while the appearances were outwardly smooth, the internal tension was still palpable, a contrast that insiders say added another layer of intrigue to the story. Around mid-afternoon, The driver recalls a particularly striking interaction that he says will stay with him forever. Kirk reportedly confronted a senior aide about perceived disloyalty, and the conversation escalated to raised voices, sharp gestures, and what the driver described as an almost unbearable intensity. Insiders confirm that the argument ended with Kirk storming out of the room, leaving staff visibly shaken. The driver said that moments like this were what made the night before so haunting, as the emotional fallout continued into the next day, creating a cycle of tension and uncertainty. Fans on social media were quick to dissect this, turning clips and reports into viral content as they debated the implications of the confrontation. As evening approached, the driver reported that Kirk retreated again to his private quarters, spending hours in isolation. Insiders say he appeared reflective, pacing back and forth, occasionally making notes or sending messages to select individuals. The driver described the scene as surreal, noting the sharp contrast between the outward calm projected in public appearances and the private storm he witnessed. Sources confirm that this pattern of intense secrecy, emotional volatility, and strategic calculation would continue in the days following, leaving those around Kirk both fascinated and uneasy. Towards the end of the day, insiders say the driver finally had a moment to speak directly to Kirk about the previous night, although the conversation was brief and tense. According to the driver, Kirk's response was a mix of frustration, defensiveness, and a rare moment of vulnerability. "He didn't say much, but I could feel everything in the room," the driver told sources. This interaction, insiders suggest, underscores the emotional complexity of the situation, highlighting both Kirk's desire for control and the human impact of the events that unfolded. Fans online immediately latched onto the idea of Kirk's vulnerability, fueling further speculation about the true depth of the drama. The story has evolved from a single, haunting night into a multi-layered saga of tension, secrecy, and emotional complexity. Insiders and fans alike are captivated, dissecting every detail, while the driver's account continues to provide a chilling, behind-the-scenes perspective. The questions linger. What will be revealed next? How will the people around Kirk react? And can he truly regain control after such a night? This sets the stage for where further revelations from the driver, escalating reactions from associates, and the growing public attention will push the drama to even more shocking heights. As the days following that fateful night unfolded, insiders say the tension surrounding Charlie Kirk only grew more intense. The driver recalls that Kirk's routine became increasingly erratic, with late-night calls, sudden meetings, and periods of complete isolation. According to the driver, even small events seemed to trigger heightened emotional reactions. "I've seen stress before," the driver said, "but this was different. Every glance, every word, every movement seemed loaded with meaning, as if the night itself was still lingering in the air." Fans online picked up on this narrative immediately, turning Kirk's every public gesture into viral content, memes, and speculation threads. Insiders report that Kirk's interactions with staff and family became progressively more charged. The driver described multiple tense exchanges in which Kirk questioned loyalty, expressed frustration at perceived misunderstandings, and demanded absolute discretion. According to sources, some staff members were left visibly shaken, whispering among themselves and questioning how to navigate the increasingly volatile environment. Social media users speculated endlessly, drawing conclusions about internal disputes, personal conflicts, or hidden controversies. The driver noted that while Kirk appeared composed to outsiders, the emotional turbulence behind closed doors was palpable. One particularly dramatic moment reportedly occurred when Kirk received an unexpected visitor, a figure previously connected to political and social controversies. Insiders say the encounter was brief but electric, with hushed tones, sharp gestures, and a level of intensity that left staff stunned. The driver recalls the atmosphere as unbelievably tense, describing Kirk's reactions as a mix of fear, anger, and cautious calculation. Fans immediately latched onto this detail, speculating about the visitor's identity, intentions, and the potential fallout from the meeting. Social media threads exploded with theories, creating a viral storm of speculation and intrigue. The driver also recounted another night when Kirk allegedly engaged in a private conversation with a family member that escalated unexpectedly. Insiders report raised voices, pointed accusations, and an emotional undercurrent that left everyone in the room unsettled. According to the driver, Kirk's intensity in the semiments revealed a side rarely seen by the public, a mixture of vulnerability, frustration, and unspoken anxiety. That these interactions were part of a larger pattern of internal drama, with emotions running high and allegiances shifting subtly behind the scenes. Fans online quickly theorized about the nature of these arguments, creating viral threads dissecting the tension, relationships, and possible secrets being revealed. In addition to these interpersonal conflicts, the driver described moments that were bizarre, even surreal. Insiders say Kirk would sometimes retreat to private spaces for hours, emerging with expressions of deep contemplation or subtle agitation. The driver observed fleeting interactions in which Kirk's body language suggested stress, determination, and lingering unease from the events of that fateful night. Fans immediately noticed clips of Kirk in public appearances, interpreting subtle gestures, eye movements, and expressions as confirmation of the driver's account. The combination of secrecy and tension fueled endless online speculation. According to insiders, the emotional ripple effects of the night extended to Kirk's professional interactions. The driver described meetings with associates and staff that were unusually intense, often punctuated by sudden outbursts or sharp directives. Sources say these sessions left participants anxious, questioning decisions, and trying to navigate a rapidly shifting environment. Fans dissected every public appearance, using social media to analyze body language, tone, and even pauses in speech, treating each as a potential clue about the ongoing drama. Another moment that insiders call pivotal occurred during a late-night private call. Kirk allegedly spoke with someone outside his immediate circle, discussing events from the fateful night. The driver, overhearing snippets while parked nearby, said Kirk's voice conveyed a mix of urgency, frustration, and emotional weight. Insiders report that this call set the stage for further developments in the following days, creating a tense atmosphere in the household and among associates. Fans online immediately created viral threads speculating about the call's content, its implications, and the potential fallout. In addition to these high-stakes interactions, the driver noted smaller but equally telling moments. Kirk reportedly walked through rooms observing staff and family with expressions of suspicion or contemplation, pausing frequently as if piecing together a complex puzzle. Insiders suggest these actions reflected lingering unease and the unresolved tension from the initial night. Fans and analysts dissected footage and photos, using every observable detail to fuel viral discussions, memes, and speculation about what might have occurred behind closed doors. One of the most emotionally charged accounts the driver shared involved a confrontation between Kirk and a trusted aide. Insiders report that Kirk, frustrated by perceived lapses in discretion, raised his voice, gestured sharply, and demanded clarity. According to the driver, the aide responded calmly but nervously, attempting to de-escalate the situation. The scene reportedly left everyone in the room unsettled, with the driver describing the tension as almost unbearable. Fans immediately latched onto the story, turning it into viral content and debating the balance of power, loyalty, and trust in Kirk's inner circle. The driver also described moments of reflection, when Kirk seemed alone with his thoughts, pacing or staring into the distance. Insiders suggest that these periods were intense and filled with internal conflict, as Kirk processed both the night's events and the potential consequences. The driver noted that he could sense the emotional gravity even from a distance, a haunting presence that seemed to hover over the household. Fans online quickly latched onto this detail, creating viral threads analyzing body language, timing, and public appearances for any clues that might confirm the story. The story has grown increasingly complex, with layers of personal, familial, and professional drama interwoven with moments of tension, secrecy, and emotional volatility. The driver's first-hand account has provided fans with a chilling behind-the-scenes perspective, sparking endless debate, speculation, and viral content. Questions continue to mount. Who else might be involved? What other events remain hidden? And how will Kirk navigate the fallout from a night that insiders describe as unforgettable and haunting? We'll take the story to its climax, revealing new twists, reactions from associates and family, and the public attention that has transformed a private night into a viral sensation. As the following days unfolded, insiders report that the tension surrounding Charlie Kirk reached an almost unbearable level. The driver recalled that Kirk's every move seemed calculated, yet tinged with visible strain. He described moments where Kirk would abruptly pause during conversations, glance nervously toward closed doors, or mutter under his breath before continuing. According to insiders, these behaviors signaled that the events of that fateful night were far from resolved, and that Kirk was still grappling with the emotional weight of what had happened. Fans online were quick to analyze clips and social media posts, dissecting body language, tone, and timing for any signs of confirmation. The driver also shared accounts of heightened security measures around Kirk's household. Insiders say additional staff were brought in, surveillance protocols were intensified, and certain areas were restricted entirely. The driver described a sense of unease that permeated the environment, noting that even long-standing employees seemed uncertain about how to act or what to say. According to sources, Kirk's inner circle was working overtime to manage both the emotional fallout and the optics of the situation, aware that any leak could spark a public frenzy. Fans online immediately picked up on these details, theorizing about potential threats, hidden conflicts, or undisclosed incidents. An emotionally charged incident reportedly occurred during a family dinner, according to the driver. Kirk, already on edge from prior events, engaged in a heated discussion with a close relative. Insiders report that voices were raised, accusations were thrown, and the atmosphere became almost unbearable. The driver recalls watching Kirk gesture passionately, his expressions a mixture of frustration, fear, and determination. According to sources, this confrontation illustrated the lingering emotional ripple effects of the previous night, showing that even private moments were now saturated with tension. Social media erupted, with fans dissecting the dynamics and speculating about long-standing family divisions, secret alliances, and possible betrayals, further complicating matters. The driver described a sequence of late-night communications that insiders say were crucial to understanding Kirk's mindset. Allegedly, Kirk sent urgent messages to associates, attempting to coordinate responses and control the narrative before information leaked. The driver noted that Kirk appeared highly strategic but emotionally strained, often speaking in clipped sentences, pacing, or gesturing sharply. Insiders suggest that this combination of strategy and visible stress made Kirk's behavior unpredictable, leaving staff on edge. Fans online immediately seized on these details, turning each snippet into viral discussions, memes, and theories about the unfolding drama. The driver also recounted moments when Kirk seemed to confront his own fears and insecurities. Insiders report that he would retreat to private spaces for extended periods, jotting notes, making calls, or simply pacing in contemplation. The driver said he could feel the emotional gravity in these moments, describing it as almost like standing next to a storm that's about to break. According to sources, these private struggles revealed a side of Kirk rarely seen by the public: vulnerable, anxious yet determined to regain control. Fans quickly latched onto this portrayal, crafting narratives about the man behind the public persona and speculating about the personal cost of living under such intense scrutiny. Another dramatic incident reportedly involved an unexpected visitor, whose brief appearance seemed to send shockwaves through Kirk's household. The driver said that Kirk's response was immediate and intense, with subtle signs of fear, anger, and frustration, all visible at once. Insiders report that the encounter lasted only minutes, yet its impact lingered for hours, affecting conversations, meetings, and even Kirk's public appearances. Social media exploded with speculation, theories, and debates about the identity of the visitor and their connection to the fateful night, turning the story into a viral sensation. According to the driver, Kirk's professional life was also affected by the aftermath. Meetings that were typically routine became high-stakes exercises in tension management, with associates reporting that Kirk's focus and demeanor had shifted. Insiders say Kirk alternated between moments of sharp clarity and bursts of visible frustration, creating an environment that was both unpredictable and emotionally charged. Fans, analyzing public footage, immediately noted changes in posture, tone, and timing, interpreting these as confirmation of the driver's account. The combination of private drama and public perception fueled an ongoing viral narrative that refused to fade. The driver also described a particularly intense confrontation with a trusted aide. Kirk allegedly demanded answers about perceived breaches of discretion, leading to a heated exchange that insiders say left everyone in the room on edge. The aide reportedly tried to calm the situation, but Kirk's intensity was overwhelming, creating an atmosphere of palpable tension. According to sources, this confrontation highlighted the fragile balance of trust and loyalty in Kirk's inner circle, a dynamic that fans immediately picked up on, turning into viral analysis and debate. Additionally, the driver noted moments of reflection where Kirk seemed to be processing the emotional weight of recent events. Insiders report that he would pace, make notes, or send careful messages to select individuals, signaling both strategy and stress. The driver described these moments as haunting, capturing a man grappling with consequences he could neither ignore nor fully control. Fans online were captivated, dissecting public appearances and social media posts for clues that might reveal the ongoing private drama. Towards the end of this period, insiders say Kirk attempted to regain some semblance of normalcy, but the shadow of the fateful night lingered. The driver observed small signs of fatigue, subtle expressions of frustration, and moments of quiet contemplation that suggested the emotional fallout was far from over. Fans continued to dissect every detail, creating viral threads, memes, and theories about the unresolved tension and what might happen next. The narrative reaches its climax. The driver's first-hand accounts have revealed a world of secrecy, emotional intensity, and ongoing drama that fans can't stop talking about. Every detail, from subtle gestures to explosive confrontations, has contributed to a viral sensation that continues to dominate social media. The story leaves lingering questions. What really happened that night? Who else is involved? And how will Charlie Kirk navigate the storm that insiders say still looms large over his personal and professional life? Wow, fam! Can you even imagine what really went down that night? The driver's account has us all shook. And honestly, it feels like we're only scratching the surface. Charlie Kirk's world, his private life, and the intense drama behind closed doors. It's like watching a thriller unfold in real time. And the craziest part? No one knows what's coming next. Fans are still buzzing, speculating, and piecing together every tiny detail from his gestures, his calls, and even his social media posts. And let's be real. The emotions ran so high in those accounts that it's impossible not to feel like you were there in the room, witnessing every tense moment. Now here's where you come in. We need your take, your theories, and your hot takes on this whole situation. Do you think there's more to the story that the driver didn't reveal? Who else might be involved? How do you think Charlie Kirk is handling all the fallout behind the scenes? This is exactly the kind of drama that explodes when fans like you start connecting the dots, creating memes, sharing theories, and debating every possible angle. Your opinions literally keep the conversation alive and help push the story to the next level. So here's what I want you to do. Smash that like button if this story had you on the edge of your seat. Subscribe so you never miss a moment of the wildest behind-the-scenes tea, and drop your comments below with what you think really went down that night. Trust me, every comment, every theory, and every reaction gets noticed. We're all in this together, trying to decode the drama, and your voice could be the next viral insight everyone's talking about. Don't sleep on this one, fam. This story isn't over, and you definitely want to be here for whatever twist comes next. Let's get into the conversation. Hit those buttons, type out your theories, and let's see who can really connect the dots. The night that haunts Charlie Kirk? It's just the beginning.